Alright, so today I want to give you a quick update on some of my ball python hatchlings. I actually have one in particular I really wanted to show you, and that is my pastel calico. Not a really high-end combination, but let me tell you, that thing shed out, and that thing is crazy looking after it shed. It's weird, you get these calicos, and before they shed, they don't really look that impressive, and then after they shed out, they look really amazing. And pretty much all of my hatchlings have shed, all except one, which is umbilicus. If you remember umbilicus, the guy that had the problems with the umbilical cord, he's like the last one to shed. He's doing great, looking great, he just hasn't shed yet. As a matter of fact, I just had my bamboo calico shed just last night, so I'm kind of waiting on umbilicus before I feed them all for the first time. So I just want to give you a quick update on some of these crazy ones that have shed. As a matter of fact, I actually have my pastel desert ghost that shed for the second time. It's actually getting some pretty good weight on that, and I'll actually show you that one too. That one is an amazing hatchling. Alright, so take a look at this. This guy just shed out. Looks completely different than the last time I showed you. Really super bright. And you can definitely see the calico. The calico essentially brings the white up the sides. And you can definitely see on this one, it has really high contrast. Really crazy sides. Look at the sides on that one. This one hasn't even had the first meal. Just hatched out of the egg and shed out for the very first time. I absolutely love these pastel calicos. And I still haven't fed this one yet. I haven't figured out the males and the females yet, and as a matter of fact, this year I'm thinking about maybe holding on to all my hatchlings until they all hatch out, and then trying to go through and figure out exactly what I want to hold back and what I want to sell. So actually, as a matter of fact, I actually have a pied that I bred with my fire pied, and if that one produces like a whole bunch of female pieds, I may hold a bunch of those back and then unload some of these. I'm not sure exactly how far I want to expand this year, but it's kind of funny hatching out all these hatchlings, and then you think, yeah, I want to keep this one and that one, and then, you know, at the end of the year you have like 15 you want to hold back, and you're like, all right, I don't want to hold back that many. You kind of change things up. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of buying another rack system. I actually have an ARS 7010 with just 2 levels. I was thinking I could add quite a few levels to the top of that ARS 7010, just buy a few levels. I think they're like $100 a level or something like that, and then I can move some of my bigger ones into that rack, which would free up the space, and I can kind of cycle through some of my, you know, the ones that are the hatchlings. I can move up into my grow out racks and stuff like that. But I haven't quite figured out how big I want to get as far as a breeding operation, and how far, you know, how much I want to expand. If I want to expand into like a warehouse level of, you know, lots of snakes, or just keep it small here in the basement of my house. But this guy is a really amazing combination. So this one is, as a matter of fact, this one is possible het desert ghost. So actually the father of this one is 50% het desert ghost. So it's just kind of like, you know, you have these possibilities kind of trickling down. I'd say the possibility that this one's het desert ghost is pretty slim, but there is that possibility there. Alright, so I also wanted to show you this one. Take a look at that beauty. This is my bamboo calico. I'm hoping it actually has pastel in the mix, and usually you can't tell pastel until they age a little bit, but I'm thinking it does have pastel based on kind of the lightness of the top of the head. And let me tell you, as these age and mature, this gets really, if it's actually not pastel, it gets really super white on the sides, and if it does have pastel in it, the sides get like a bright yellow. It's pretty amazing. And kind of the weird thing about this is the first time I've ever seen this on any of my hatchling ball pythons. Look at this. He's got a little bit of stuck shed right on his neck. That's the very first time I've ever seen this. As a matter of fact, I was looking back at his enclosure, and it looks like the substrate is like completely drenched. It's like really super humid in there. I've never seen a ball python with a stuck shed, a hatchling, for the first time. Usually hatchlings never get a stuck shed for the first, I'd say at least 3 or 4 sheds. So this is extremely unusual. So I might have to kind of soak this guy a little bit. It doesn't look like he has any kind of like a genetic defect or anything that would cause the shed to be stuck like that. But I just thought that was kind of the weirdest thing. The first time I've ever seen a hatchling with a stuck shed. Just look at how beautiful that is. Really awesome snake. And this one, as a matter of fact, I'll probably hang on to this one. Of course, I say that until I produce a whole bunch of visual pieds. And then I'm like, I can't keep keep all these snakes unless, you know, I expand into like the living room or something like that. Or, you know, as a matter of fact, I thought about at one point actually building a little snake room here on the property because I have plenty of room, but I just don't have it in the budget this year. Maybe someday I'll eventually get to that point. So take a look at this. This is my visual pastel desert ghost shed for the second time. It's already had 4 meals. Look at that crazy snake. This is one of the most amazing combinations. And this is the ultimate potential of desert ghost working in pastel. Look at that crazy snake. And let me tell you, I could just have a whole collection of pastel and pastel combinations with the desert ghost. That is amazing. It's kind of amazing that this guy popped out. I didn't even realize that the female was het for desert ghost, so I was not expecting a visual, and that thing is just crazy looking. And kind of the cool thing about desert ghosts, especially with the pastel, as they age and mature, they really keep the brightness and the contrast. So this guy will, you know, get, you know, full size, and he'll look exactly like this, super bright with the super high contrast. That is probably, I'd say, as far as, you know, keeping pastel really bright and yellow, I'd say desert ghost is probably the #1 gene to really hold its brightness and its contrast. Kind of crazy. All right, so I wanted to show you these two snakes side by side. This is pretty amazing. And as a matter of fact, you'll actually, if you actually watch these age and mature, you'll be pretty amazed how they really transform. This one right here, this is a super pastel. 2 copies of the pastel, and it's also het for desert ghost. You really can't see the het desert ghost. And then this one, this is a super pastel with the calico. So the calico, I would say, usually as a hatchling, the calicos are not that impressive. And let me tell you, once they start aging and maturing, they get some age on them, the calico really starts shining through. As a matter of fact, I've actually, you look back at some of my older videos, I have a bamboo calico, and then when I hatched out, you look at this and you're like, that's not really that impressive. Why would anybody go after calico? And then when they actually mature like a full-size adult snake, they come out really impressive, really super high contrast, and a lot of really high definition. They really change. It's pretty amazing the change in the calico from a hatchling to adult. And it's really amazing looking at the calico in here versus just the super pastel, with and without the calico. Quite a big difference between these two snakes. So here's a couple more we can kind of compare side by side. These are both super pastel calicos, and I'm pretty sure that this one has Enchi in the mix. Look at how like the pattern is reduced to almost like tiger stripes in the pattern, and it can kind of throw you off because on this one it's really reduced, almost looks like Enchi in spots, but I'm pretty sure it's I don't know, still sometimes it's hard to tell because pastel and super pastel can be really jumbled up and really reduced, but I'm pretty sure this one has the Enchi. As a matter of fact, Enchi usually brings in a little bit more orange, and you can definitely see some of the orange coming in on this one compared to this one. So I'd say I'm 99% sure that this has Enchi because it's a little bit more orange and the pattern is a little bit more reduced than the other one. They're really close. It's really hard to tell one from the other. As a matter of fact, if you actually didn't have 2 of them side by side, sometimes it's really hard to tell one from the other when you're looking at these genes. And the more you produce, it seems like the more you can kind of line up and hold them side by side and really compare one versus the other. They're both really amazing looking snakes. All right, so there you have it. And I have to admit that hatching out ball pythons is probably my favorite part of the hobby, and watching them go through all the different transformations, especially after the first shed, which can be pretty dramatic. They can go through a lot of transformations, even from shedding from the first time, especially if you look at like the corglows and bananas. They start usually with a lot of bright oranges and purples, and as they age and mature, they kind of go into like a 2-tone yellow with a lot of freckles. I produced a lot of bananas and corglows, and let me tell you, those can change a lot, and especially the calicos. It's pretty amazing. We'll be looking back at some of these old videos thinking, I can't believe how they've really changed over the years. It's pretty amazing. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. All right, so I wanted to give you an update on my ducks. Look at these black cayugas, how big they are. Every time I look at them, it seems like they're getting bigger and bigger. Really beautiful. Look at these guys. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Still super friendly. Look at them all. This place is, I have so many birds out here. It's unbelievable. And then I have these Muscovy ducks over here. Take a look at these guys, getting big, really super big. They're starting to fill in. They don't quite have all their adult feathers like these ducks have. I can't believe how big these ducks are. These are, look at how big they are. Oh my goodness. And I've been feeding them lettuce twice a day. And I ran out of lettuce, and that's where they're all following me around. They're like, where's my lettuce? Where's my lettuce? Look at these guys. And then I have all my black Australorps in here. I have 18 of these black Australorp chickens running around here somewhere. And then I have my 3 little Pekin ducks. And it is ready, it's time to go to bed. Everyone's ready to be tucked into bed. And so that's what I do is I set up a little fencing area in here and I separate the pecans. They kind of sleep over in the corner. The Muscovies sleep in this corner. And then I have a little area here for the black Australorps. And then I just let let these cayuga ducks just kind of roam here because they're big enough to hold their own against pretty much anything at this point. And actually, here's the rest of my black Australorps over here, kind of picking in the dirt. These guys are great. Here's a quick update on my cows. Some people are saying, hey, can you show your cows? They're getting a little frisky. The sun's starting to set, and it seems like when the sun starts going down, they get a little crazy. I don't know what it is about the evening, but this is my baby from last year. Look at the little baby. And then this is my steer. Getting pretty big. This guy is pretty skittish most times. Sometimes he freaks me out when he kind of jumps and runs. They're super friendly for the most part. And then I have this girl over here. As a matter of fact, she's gonna have another calf this year. I'm thinking pretty soon. Her bag's getting pretty big. She's still nursing her calf from last year. So I'm thinking maybe in another month or so, this girl's gonna have another calf. Then I'll be up to 5 cows, which is pretty crazy. As a matter of fact, I got rid of all my cows except 3. Then I had one last year and then one this year. And let me tell you, these guys can multiply like rabbits once they get going. It's kind of crazy. And that little baby is actually a female. So I'll actually have 2 females now. If she has another girl, you know, it can actually get kind of out of hand with so many girls. And then I have this big bull. Take a look at this big old boy. This is T-Bone, and he probably weighs, I'm thinking maybe 2,500 pounds. He is a beast.